The stars were quiet. Space was dark and cold. A small spaceship moved slowly across the sky. Inside was a woman named Maya. She was a space engineer, working for Earth's space mission. She had been on a long trip, bringing data back from a research station. Maya was alone. The crew had left earlier on another ship. Her mission was the last to return. She was tired but happy. She was going home. Suddenly, the lights inside the ship blinked. Beep, beep. Warning, the ship shook. Maya looked at the screen. Something big was coming fast. Before she could react, a strange energy wave hit the ship. Boom! The spaceship spun out of control. Maya hit her head. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed. She tried to grab the controls, but it was too late. The ship crashed. Through a thick red cloud. Down. Maya woke up slowly. Her head hurt. Everything was quiet now. The ship was broken. One side was crushed. Smoke rose into the red sky. She looked outside the broken window. The sky was orange. The land was full of red rocks and strange hills. No trees, no water, no signs of life. Where am I? She whispered. She checked the radio. Broken. The emergency beacon? Also broken. No help was coming. She was alone on a strange planet. Maya stepped outside. The air was warm and dry. She could breathe, but it felt heavy. She looked around. Her boots left deep prints in the soft red dirt. The sun, if it was a sun, was large and pale. She grabbed a small bag of supplies and started walking. She needed shelter, water, safety. Hours passed. The wind blew dust into the air. It was hard to see. Then she heard something. A click. Then a thump. She turned. Nothing there. She kept walking. Again thump. Thump. Something was behind her. She stopped. A shadow moved between two rocks. Maya froze. Her heart beat fast. Is someone there? She called out. Silence. She backed away slowly, then turned and ran toward a small cave. Inside, it was dark and cool. Safe, for now. She spent the night there. Her body hurt. Her food was low. The cave was silent, but in the middle of the night, she woke up. She felt eyes watching her. She held her breath. A sound, soft footsteps. Then nothing. Was she dreaming? She didn't sleep again. In the morning, Maya left the cave. The sun was high. She looked for water but found nothing. But something strange caught her eye. On the ground, in the red dirt, were footprints. Not hers, not human. They had 3 toes, deep marks. Big steps. She followed them. They led to a stone wall with a glowing symbol. It pulsed with light, then faded. Suddenly, a roar came from behind the hill. Maya ran. She slipped, rolled down a hill, and landed hard. Then she saw tall, silver blue skin, eyes that glowed green, long arms. A body strong like stone. The creature looked at her. Maya couldn't move. She couldn't speak. The alien took a step forward. Then, a storm began. Wind and dust filled the air. Red lightning cracked across the sky. The alien grabbed her arm. Maya screamed, but it didn't hurt her. It pulled her into a crack in the rocks, a small cave. Inside, it covered the entrance with a rock. They sat in silence. The storm raged outside. The alien looked at her with calm eyes. Maya was shaking. She didn't understand. Why didn't it hurt her? Why did it save her? Hours passed. When the storm stopped, the alien stood up. It looked at her one last time, then left the cave. Maya followed, but it was gone. She stood in the quiet desert. She wasn't alone. Something was watching her. Someone had saved her. But why? Maya couldn't stop thinking about the creature. It was not a dream. It was real. It had saved her life during the storm. It didn't speak. It didn't make a sound. But it had eyes, green glowing eyes that didn't look angry or wild. Looked human. Almost kind. But now it's gone. The sky above her was still red and strange. The ground was dry, and the air smelled like metal. Her food pack was nearly empty. She needed water, shelter, answers. And maybe she needed to see him again. She walked toward the place, where the alien had vanished. Each step felt heavier than the last. Her legs hurt. Her throat was dry. Then she saw something new, a mark, a line carved into a tall rock. It looked fresh, a long scratch with a circle at the end. She touched it. The stone felt warm. Another mark appeared further ahead. The same symbol. Was he leaving a trail? Was it a message? She followed. After walking for an hour, she reached a small valley between sharp black rocks. The wind here was quiet, like the planet was holding its breath. And then she saw him again. The alien stood at the edge of a pool, yes, a pool of water clear and blue in the middle of the red desert. He turned and looked at her. He didn't run. He didn't speak. He only watched. Maya didn't move. He stepped aside and pointed to the water. Slowly, carefully, Maya walked closer. She knelt and drank. It was clean, cold, life. She looked up to thank him, but he was gone. Again. Just the wind now. And silence. That night, she returned to the same cave from before. She felt tired, but also confused. Why did he help her again? He didn't talk. He didn't even try to scare her. He only helped. That wasn't normal. Aliens in stories were always monsters or fighters, but this one? He was different. Maya couldn't sleep. So she explored the cave. She found strange symbols on the walls. Glowing lines and soft curves. Like writing, but not like anything she'd seen on Earth. One drawing showed a tall figure. Like the alien, next to a smaller figure. Like a woman. Beside them was a shape round and bright. Maybe a sun. Or maybe an egg? Maya stared at the wall. What is this? She whispered. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the cave. The wall began to glow brighter. And then he appeared again. The alien walked slowly into the cave. No sound, no fear. Maya stood up, holding her hands out, showing she had no weapon. He stopped a few feet away. They looked at each other. Then he did something strange. He placed his hand on his chest, flat, slow. Then pointed to her. She understood. Me, you. He repeated it again. Slowly. Then he picked up a small glowing stone from the ground. He held it out to her. Maya took it. The stone was warm. When she touched it, she felt something in her mind, a feeling. Not words, but a picture, a lonely planet. War. Death. Then the image of a woman. Her. And a child. Glowing with light. Maya dropped the stone. She was shaking. What did he show her? Was it a message, a dream, or a warning? The alien watched her, then walked deeper into the cave. Maya picked up the stone and followed. They entered a hidden room, full of soft blue light. On the wall were drawings of planets, stars, and two hands reaching out to each other. One alien, one human. She looked at the alien. Why me? She whispered. He didn't speak. But she could feel his answer. Not in words. In emotions. He was the last of his kind. He was alone. And now, so was she. Maya sat down. The alien sat beside her. They didn't speak, but they didn't need to. In the silence, something was growing, a connection, not just survival, something more. Days passed on the red planet. Maya no longer counted the hours. The sun rose slowly and never truly set. The sky stayed orange and heavy. Time moved like a dream, slow and strange. But something was changing. She wasn't completely alone anymore. Every morning, she found small signs that the alien had been near. Once, a trail of glowing stones led her to a hidden fruit tree, deep inside a cave. The fruits were purple and soft. She took a bite. Sweet. Safe. Another day. She woke to find her broken water bottle refilled and placed beside her sleeping spot. He was helping her. But he never stayed. He watched from far away. like a ghost in the dust. Then one day, Maya made a choice. She built a small fire near the edge of the cave and placed food beside it. One fruit for herself, and one for him. She waited. Hours passed, then footsteps. He came. The alien stood at the edge of the firelight, watching her. He didn't move closer. So Maya picked up his fruit and gently offered it. He paused, then slowly reached out. Their hands touched for the first time. His skin was smooth, cool like stone but alive. Energy pulsed under the surface, like light trapped inside. He took the fruit, ate slowly. They sat in silence, fire, wind, stars above. Two creatures from two worlds, sharing one meal. That night, Maya had a strange dream. She was walking in a glowing forest. The trees sang. The sky was full of dancing lights. The alien walked beside her. They didn't speak, but she could feel everything he felt: loneliness, pain, hope. A soft voice whispered in her mind, "We are not so different." She woke up with tears in her eyes. In the days that followed, they began to build a rhythm. She showed him how she cleaned wounds with her med-kit. He showed her how to find food that grew under the sand. She taught him words, simple ones: water, food, danger, friend. He listened carefully. Then he pointed at her and said, slowly, "Maya." Her name, and when she pointed at him, he said, "Kale." It wasn't a human name, but it was his. One afternoon, a sandstorm began. Without warning, Mia shouted, "Cave!" But Kale didn't move. He was looking at the sky. A strange sound echoed across the sky. Not thunder. It was a low hum, deep, cold, mechanical. Kale's eyes widened. He grabbed Maya's hand and ran toward the rocks, inside a narrow crack in the cliff. They hid. Dust blew past the entrance. Then a shadow passed over the land. Something flew across the sky. A machine, black, silent, watching. Not from Earth, not from Kale's kind. Something else. Maya looked at him. He looked afraid. This time, he was the one shaking. After the storm passed, they climbed out. Kale led her to a secret chamber deep underground. Inside, glowing roots crawled along the walls. In the center was a strange object, a pod, silver with soft green light inside. Kale touched it gently. A hologram appeared, a picture of a planet, his home. Then explosions, destruction. His people gone. A small group had escaped. Kale was left behind to protect the pod. Maya stepped closer. Inside the pod, she saw something floating. Not a machine, not a weapon, a seed. Or maybe an embryo, something alive, something waiting. Kale looked at her, then placed his hand over her heart. And then over the pod. Maya understood. This was not just a story of survival. This was a beginning. That night, they sat by the fire again. Maya drew stars in the sand. Kale added symbols of his own. They were no longer strangers. They were something else. Now. Not human. Not alien. But something in between. Maya sat near the fire, watching the flames dance. The wind outside was calm tonight. The planet seemed to be sleeping. Kale sat across from her, his glowing eyes steady, quiet. They didn't speak much. Words were still hard. But they didn't need words now. Their silence was full of meaning. For the first time, Maya felt safe. Not because the planet had changed, it was still wild, hot, and dangerous, but because she was no longer afraid of it. Kale had become her guide, her shield. And something more. That evening, Kale brought her a gift, a small, silver shell. It opened like a flower and gave off soft light. Inside was a glowing blue liquid. He touched the shell to her wrist, and it healed a scratch she didn't even notice. She smiled. "Thank you." Kale simply watched her with soft eyes. Then he did something new. He placed his hand just above her heart. She held her breath. She felt a soft warmth, not on her skin but inside her chest. A deep pulse, like a soft echo. It matched her heartbeat. Thump, thump. For a moment, Everything around them disappeared. No stars. No wind. Just a stillness between two souls. That night, Maya dreamed again. This time, the forest in her dream was brighter. Kale was there. But he looked different, more human. His face was clearer, familiar. He reached out to touch her. A voice whispered, "The bond has begun." When she woke up, her skin was glowing just slightly. Soft lines like light. Under her veins, she blinked. It faded in seconds. The next day, strange things began to happen. Plants near their cave started glowing, 2 green vines growing faster than before. Water from the spring turned clearer, colder. The animals, small floating creatures that usually stayed far away, started circling the cave at night, making soft hums. It was as if the planet felt something. As if it knew something had changed. Maya began feeling changes too. Her body felt warmer, her energy stronger. She no longer got tired as fast. She could walk longer, climb easier. But sometimes she felt dizzy. And there was a soft flutter in her belly, like tiny wings brushing from the inside. She didn't tell Kale at first. She wasn't sure herself. One evening, while sitting by the glowing spring, she finally asked, "Kale," she said softly, "what is happening to me?" Kale didn't answer with words. Instead, he placed his hand over her belly. She froze. His eyes glowed brighter. But they were not afraid. They were full of hope. Then Maya felt it. Not a dream. Not a thought. A heartbeat. Not hers. Not Kale's. A new one. Tiny. Alive. Inside her. Maya gasped and stood up. Her hands shook. She stepped back, looking at him. "No, this can't be." Kale stood too, calm but serious. He pointed to the sky, then to the glowing pod he had shown her before. Then he pointed at her. Maya understood now. The bond wasn't just spiritual. It was biological. The seed of his people, the one he had shown her, had chosen her body to grow, but not by force, not by command, through the connection they shared, through something deeper, something she had agreed to. Without even knowing it, she turned away, heart racing. How could this happen? She was human. He was not, but her body said it was real, and her heart didn't feel fear, only confusion. And something else. Something close to peace. That night, she sat outside alone, looking at the stars. Everything she once knew was far away now. Earth, family, her old life. And now inside her was a life that had never existed before. Half human, half alien, a child of 2 worlds. Kale came and sat beside her. He didn't speak. He only placed his hand near hers in the sand. A soft light glowed from where their fingers touched. And in that light, Maya saw a future. Not the one she expected, but maybe the one she was meant for. The child inside her was not a dream anymore. Maya could feel it growing, pulsing, alive. Some nights, it glowed softly beneath her skin. She would place her hands over her belly and whisper, "Who are you?" The planet never answered, but Kale did. One morning, Maya woke to find Kale waiting for her outside the cave. His eyes were serious. He held a glowing stone in his hand, round, smooth, like a memory trapped in crystal. He touched it to her forehead. Suddenly, her vision went white. Her body stayed still, but her mind was pulled into another world. She saw a planet, Kale's home, covered in golden forests and rivers of light. She saw his people, tall and strong, full of wisdom. They lived in peace for many years. But then, from the stars came others, cold, gray, machines without hearts. War began. The sky turned black. Cities fell. Children vanished. The rivers turned dark. Kale's people fought, but they were few. Before the end, the last elders took a piece of their life, a seed, and placed it in a living pod. Not to survive, but to begin again with help from another species. Compatible one. A human. Maya gasped and stepped back. The vision faded. She stared at Kale. He looked calm, but there was pain in his eyes. You were chosen, Maya said softly. He nodded once. She sat down holding her stomach. This child. It's your future. Kale knelt and placed the crystal stone in her hand. It was warm now. It pulsed gently like a small heart, not a weapon. Not a clone. A new life. A life of two worlds. Later that day, Kale led her to the oldest part of the cave. They had never gone that deep before. The walls were covered in ancient symbols. Maya ran her fingers over the drawings. Some showed stars and spaceships. Others showed Kale's people holding hands with strange beings, humans, and one symbol stopped. Her breath. It showed a woman giving birth. Her body was glowing. Light spread from her to the land around her. Mountains rose. Rivers flowed. The child she held was shining like a sun. Above it all, one word repeated again and again in the alien language. The bridge, Maya whispered. Is that what I am? Kale placed his hand over hers. He looked into her eyes with soft strength and spoke a word she hadn't heard before. Not alien. Not English, but it echoed in her mind. Hope. That night Maya couldn't sleep. The air felt different, heavy, then far above the stars. Flickered, not like normal. One star moved. Fast, straight, unnatural. She stood outside and watched. Kale joined her. He was silent. Then behind them, the pod inside the hidden chamber began to glow brighter. A low hum filled the cave. Something had been activated. Suddenly, Kale turned and placed both hands on her shoulders. His face was more serious than ever before. He pointed at the stars. Then to her belly. Maya shook her head. Something is coming? Kale nodded once. Then he touched the sand and drew two symbols. One for their cave. One for the sky. And between them, a storm. Maya felt fear. Not just for herself, for the child. She looked up at the dark sky, now full of movement. Distant lights. Quiet shapes. Ships. Not Kale's kind, not hers, something else, watching. Waiting. Kale opened a hidden panel near the chamber wall. Inside was a long staff, shaped like a tree branch but made of metal and light. He held it like a warrior, but also like a guardian. For the first time Maya realized Kale wasn't just a survivor, he was a protector. And now, he would protect her and the child, even if it cost him everything. She touched her belly. Again, a soft thump replied. The child was awake. And the planet listened. The ground vibrated softly. Not from fear, but from awakening. Asterisk. Maya stood at the edge of a cliff. The sky above her was not calm anymore. It was broken. Dark shapes floated between the clouds, silent, sharp, and cold like knives made of metal. They were not stars. They were ships. Watching. Waiting. Her hands rested over her belly. The heartbeat inside her had grown stronger. Sometimes she felt it even in her dreams, a soft thump, like tiny drums calling her from the inside. She was not just surviving now. She was changing. Kale stayed close. He no longer disappeared for hours. He followed her steps. Watched the skies. Listened to the planet. Something had awakened inside both of them, and something had awakened in the land itself. The fruit trees near the spring now grew twice as fast. Roots beneath the cave walls glowed at night. The wind whispered strange sounds. Maya began to feel things before they happened. Once, she woke up and said, "A storm is coming." An hour later, the sky exploded with red lightning. Another time, she told Kale to move their fire deeper into the cave. Moments later, the ground shook, and a sharp rock fell where the fire had been. She wasn't guessing. The child inside her knew. But with the power came pain. Some nights her skin burned from within. Her bones ached. Her eyes glowed in the dark. Kale helped her through it. He brought herbs to cool her skin. Wrapped her in soft vines that pulsed with life, but nothing could stop what was happening. She was no longer fully human. Not anymore. One night, she asked Kale the question she had feared most. Will I survive this? Kale was silent for a long time. Then, He reached out and placed both hands on her stomach. He bowed his head and whispered one word. Balance. She understood. If the child lived. She might not. The next morning, Maya stepped out of the cave and saw something that made her blood turn cold. A tower had appeared on the far horizon. Dark, tall, thin like a needle piercing. The sky. It wasn't there before. It didn't belong to the planet. Kale saw it too. He tencd. Maya watched his face closely. For the first time, she saw fear. That evening, the ground trembled again. This time, it wasn't a storm. Something moved under the planet, like a heartbeat. But deeper, older. Kale led her to the glowing chamber. He placed her hand on the silver pod. It opened. Inside was a light so bright, Maya had to close her eyes. Voice echoed in her mind. Not Kale's, not hers. Something ancient. It spoke in feeling, not words. You carry the bridge, the child of dawn. Protect it. The future depends on you. She opened her eyes. The light faded. Kale was already standing at the entrance, staff in hand, looking into the night. The wind brought a sound. Low. Mechanical. The ships were coming. Maya didn't feel fear anymore. She felt fire. The child inside her glowed. Her skin shimmered faintly. Kale turned to her. His voice was deep and calm. Ready? Maya took a breath. She wasn't sure what she was anymore. But she wasn't just Maya now. She was mother of the new world, and she was ready to protect it. The sky was breaking. Flames fell like rain from the clouds. The ground trembled like it had a voice, deep, ancient, and angry. Above the horizon, the black tower now pulsed with red light, and above it, ships, not one, many. They had arrived. Inside the cave, Maya lay on the stone floor, her hands over her belly. She was breathing hard. Her body burned from the inside out. The child was coming. Not tomorrow. Now. Kale stood at the entrance, his staff glowing, his eyes locked on the horizon. He was ready to fight. But even he knew, this battle was not just his. The planet had awakened. Outside, the land cracked open. From the red soil rose pillars of crystal, glowing with the same light Maya carried in her veins. Plants bloomed where there had been dust. Streams of silver water flowed. The planet was responding to her pain. Maya screamed as a wave of energy passed through her. Light burst from her body and hit the cave walls. The chamber symbols glowed brighter than ever. Kale rushed to her side. He placed one hand on her forehead, the other on her belly. And then it happened. There was no blood, no fear, only light. The child was born silently, floating slightly above Maya's arms, eyes closed, skin smooth and glowing. Not fully human, not fully alien, but perfect. Soft hum filled the chamber. The child opened its eyes, and the whole planet exhaled. Outside, the sky changed color. The enemy ships stopped in mid-air. Something in their systems began to fail. Power died. Lights flickered. One by one, they fell from the sky. Softly. Like feathers. No explosions. No war. Just stillness. Maya held the child. Tears ran down her face, but she was smiling. She was still alive, weak, changed, but alive. Kale knelt beside her. He looked at the child with awe. He whispered something in his language. Something that meant, welcome, light of two worlds. The ground rumbled again, but this time, not from fear. A ship appeared in the sky, smooth, silver, round, not from Earth, not from the enemy. Something else. It landed quietly near the edge of the cliffs. A soft ramp opened. No soldiers came out, just a voice, clear and gentle. We have come for the child. Kale stood up. Maya clutched the baby tighter. No, she said. He stays with us, the voice answered. He is not just yours. He's the balance between galaxies. He's the future. Kale looked at Maya. She looked at the child, then at the sky, and finally at the land around her. The planet was healing, breathing, alive again. Because of the child. Because of them. Maya stood, holding the baby. She walked to the edge of the cliff, facing the ship. I will go with him, she said. But only if we stay together. This is his home now. Silence. Then. The ship's lights turned blue. Accepted. Kale walked beside her. The ramp opened wider. Together. They entered, not to escape, but to protect what had just begun. The ship rose slowly, not leaving the planet, but hovering above it, guarding it, like a parent watching over a newborn. Inside. The child slept peacefully. In his dreams, stars danced, and planets whispered his name, a child of two worlds, born not to destroy, but to connect. And from that moment forward, the red planet had a name. One no human or alien had ever spoken before. Name whispered only in stories, hope,